Have you ever wondered why your erection becomes weaker with age, yet your body can still respond instantly when exposed to the right daily practice? As a specialist in men's health, I want you to understand something fundamental. Your erection did not fade because your body is too old. It faded because the systems that once activated it every single day simply stopped receiving the signals they need to function. And this is exactly why one simple daily practice, a practice almost no man was ever taught, can reignite your erection even in your 70s or 80s. It triggers the three core mechanisms behind a strong erection: nitric oxide release, pelvic artery expansion, and relaxation of the smooth muscle inside the penis. These mechanisms slow down silently as the years pass, but here is the truth older men are never told: they do not shut down. They go dormant. This daily practice works because it switches them back on. It stimulates your endothelial lining, increases oxygen flow, and restores the pelvic circulation the penis depends on. Even more importantly, it reactivates the erectile chambers, the same chambers that once filled rapidly when you were younger. Older men often think they lost the ability, but medically, that is not accurate. You still have the structures. You still have the pathways. What you lack is the daily signal that reawakens them. This practice provides that signal in less than 1 minute. Before we continue, take a moment to check whether you are already subscribed to the channel. If this explanation is helping you understand your body more clearly, leave a like and comment the word practice so I know you are following every step with full attention. As a specialist who works with older men every day, I want you to finally understand why your erection becomes weaker with age, and why this decline is far more reversible than most men are led to believe. Your erection does not weaken because age destroys the body. It weakens because several internal systems begin to slow down, often without you noticing, until the erection pathway no longer activates as it once did. The first silent breakdown occurs in the endothelial lining, the thin, delicate tissue inside your blood vessels responsible for releasing nitric oxide. This chemical is the spark that makes an erection possible. When your endothelium becomes stiff from decades of inflammation, stress, poor sleep, and low oxygen, it stops releasing nitric oxide effectively. Without nitric oxide, the arteries that carry blood to the penis cannot open quickly, and slow blood flow means weak rigidity. The second decline happens inside the smooth muscle of the erectile chambers. This muscle must fully relax to trap blood and build erection pressure. But with age, the muscle becomes partially tight from years of reduced circulation, sitting too much, and microtension in the pelvic floor. A muscle that stays tight cannot expand or hold pressure, meaning your erection collapses before it even forms. The third major issue is the reduction of pelvic microcirculation. These tiny arteries narrow earlier and faster than larger vessels. When they stiffen, blood loses speed and force. A strong erection requires a sudden surge of blood, not a slow trickle. Most older men never realize how much this speed loss affects their hardness. The fourth decline involves nerve signaling and hormonal sensitivity. It is not always about low testosterone. Often, the receptors become less responsive, reducing sexual readiness and slowing the erection response. Finally, many older men develop pelvic floor tension without knowing it. Years of sitting, prostate issues, and poor posture create tightness that blocks blood from entering the penis freely. But here is the truth: specialists know, none of these declines represent permanent damage. They are functional shutdowns, meaning they can be reactivated. And this is exactly why the daily practice you are about to learn is so effective. It stimulates nitric oxide, improves microcirculation, softens the arteries, and releases pelvic tension. Your body is not failing. It simply needs the right daily signal to turn these systems back on. Now that you understand why erections weaken with age, let me reveal the daily practice itself. As a specialist, I designed this method to target the exact physiological mechanisms older men lose over time: nitric oxide release, pelvic artery expansion, and smooth muscle relaxation inside the penis. This practice consists of 3 simple but powerful actions, performed in a specific sequence. When combined, they create a rapid surge of circulation to the pelvic region and send a clear signal to reawaken the erectile pathway. The first action is deep diaphragmatic breathing. This type of breathing draws oxygen into the lower abdomen, stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, and immediately reduces internal tension. Older men often breathe shallowly, which limits pelvic blood flow. But deep abdominal breathing widens the arteries and prepares the erectile chambers to receive more oxygen and pressure. The second action is gentle pelvic activation. This involves controlled hip movement, small rotations, subtle forward tilts, or light shifting of body weight. These movements are not exercise, they are vascular triggers. They stimulate the deep arteries that feed the erection, forcing them to open more fully and improving blood speed. These arteries often stiffen with age, but they respond very quickly when they receive targeted mechanical stimulation. That is why this simple movement produces such a fast effect. The third action is pelvic floor release. Most older men unknowingly carry tension in the pelvic floor. This tension restricts blood entry into the penis and makes erections slower and weaker. By gently relaxing these muscles through breathing and positioning, you remove a major physical barrier to strong erectile pressure. When these 3 actions, breathing, activation, release, happen in order, they create a surge of nitric oxide, open the pelvic arteries, reduce muscle tension, and restore responsiveness in the erectile chambers. It is not magic. It is biology that has been asleep, not destroyed. This practice reawakens it in less than 1 minute each day. To make this daily practice work, especially for men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, the technique must be done with intention and precision. As a specialist, I will guide you step by step so your body receives the exact physiological signals required to reactivate your erection pathway. Step 1. Stand upright with an open posture. Your feet should be shoulder-width apart, your shoulders relaxed, and your chest open. This position frees your diaphragm and reduces compression on the pelvic arteries. A closed posture restricts oxygen flow and weakens the activation. Step 2. Place one hand on your lower abdomen. This helps you feel whether you are breathing correctly. Most older men breathe shallowly into the chest without realizing it. Your hand ensures the breath moves downward, where it matters. Step 3. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds. Your belly should expand outward as your diaphragm lowers. This deep breath widens the pelvic arteries and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the internal state your body needs to produce an erection. Step 4. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds while relaxing the pelvic floor. Relax the same muscles you would tighten to stop urine flow. This release opens the pathway for blood to enter the erectile chambers more freely. A tight pelvic floor is one of the biggest barriers to strong erections in older men. Step 5. Begin gentle pelvic activation. Rotate your hips slowly in a circular motion, 3 times clockwise and 3 times counterclockwise. Focus on making the movement smooth, not large. These rotations stimulate deep pelvic arteries, helping them open quickly and improving blood flow speed. Step 6. Shift your body weight from one leg to the other. Do this slowly for about 5 seconds. This shifting motion increases circulation pressure toward the lower abdomen, delivering more oxygen and blood volume to the erectile chambers. Step 7. Finish with a brief abdominal expansion. Push your lower abdomen outward gently for 1 second, then relax. This small action boosts pelvic pressure and primes the erectile tissue for better responsiveness. The entire sequence takes under a minute. But when done correctly, it triggers nitric oxide release, opens pelvic arteries, and creates the internal conditions required for a firm, fast erection, even at 80. As a specialist, I want you to recognize the very first signs that this daily practice is beginning to work. These sensations are not random or imagined. They are clear biological signals showing that your erectile system is waking up after years, sometimes decades, of reduced activity. The most common early sign is a warm or expanding sensation in the lower abdomen or pelvic region. This warmth occurs because your pelvic arteries are finally widening again. For many older men, this sensation has been absent for years, so its return is a powerful indicator that nitric oxide is increasing. Another sign is a sense of heaviness or fullness in the penis, even without stimulation. This happens when the smooth muscle inside the erectile chambers begins relaxing, allowing more blood to enter and stay. It is one of the earliest signals that your erection pathway is turning back on. A third early sign is the return of morning firmness, sometimes subtle, sometimes surprisingly strong. Morning erections are a direct measurement of vascular and endothelial health. When they reappear, it means your body is rebuilding nighttime nitric oxide cycles. Many men also notice a faster response time when they become stimulated. Where their erections once felt slow or inconsistent, the response suddenly becomes quicker and more dependable. This reflects improved microcirculation and stronger endothelial function. Another important sign is a feeling of openness or relief in the pelvic area. This indicates that the pelvic floor, often stiff and tight from years of sitting, is beginning to relax, clearing the pathway for stronger erection pressure. Finally, many men report a quiet but clear increase in sexual readiness. This is not psychological. It is physical. Once blood flow and nitric oxide improve, the brain begins to sense the renewed ability of the erectile tissue. These early signs confirm one thing: your erection was not gone. It was dormant, and now it is coming back online. As a specialist, I need to warn you about something that surprises most older men. Even when the daily practice is done perfectly, certain morning habits can quietly shut down the entire erection pathway. These habits interfere with nitric oxide, restrict pelvic circulation, stiffen the arteries, and tighten the pelvic floor, exactly the opposite of what your body needs to rebuild strong erections. The most damaging habit is drinking coffee too early, especially on an empty stomach. Coffee triggers an immediate cortisol spike, and cortisol is a vasoconstrictor. It tightens blood vessels. Your morning practice is trying to widen your pelvic arteries, but caffeine forces them to narrow. For men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, this single conflict can completely block the erection response. Another major mistake is eating sugar at the start of the day. Sweets, pastries, flavored coffee drinks, fruit juice, and processed cereals inflame the endothelial lining, the tissue responsible for releasing nitric oxide. If the endothelium becomes irritated, it cannot signal the arteries to open. Sugar does not just weaken the effect of the practice, it reverses it. A third habit that destroys progress is sitting down immediately after the practice. Sitting compresses the pelvic floor and clamps the arteries that supply the erectile chambers. Even if the daily practice successfully opened those vessels, sitting shuts them again, stopping blood flow before it reaches the penis. Another unrecognized problem is shallow chest breathing. Older men often tighten their chest or shoulders without noticing. This type of breathing increases internal pressure and reduces oxygen flow to the pelvic region. The erectile system needs relaxation, not tension. Chronic pelvic floor tightness, worsened by stress or poor posture, is another silent disruptor. If the pelvic floor becomes tense again right after the practice, blood cannot enter the penis freely. This tension is one of the most common, and most overlooked, causes of weak erections in older men. Finally, starting the day dehydrated severely limits blood movement. Thicker blood reduces nitric oxide transport and makes it much harder for the erectile tissue to fill. All these habits share one thing in Common, they block the exact biological mechanisms the daily practice is trying to reactivate. Avoiding them is just as important as performing the practice itself. When you remove these barriers, the erection pathway becomes dramatically more responsive, even at 80. To unlock the full potential of this daily practice, especially for men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, you must pair it with 2 simple habits. This transforms the technique from a single activation into a complete erection restoring protocol. As a specialist, I recommend this combination because it reinforces circulation, protects the endothelial lining, and prepares the erectile chambers to receive and maintain pressure. Habit 1. Hydrate immediately after the practice. Drink a full glass of water within the first minutes of finishing the sequence. Hydration thins the blood slightly, increases plasma volume, and helps nitric oxide travel more efficiently. Older men often underestimate how much dehydration reduces erection strength. With proper hydration, the erectile tissue receives more oxygen and pressure, making erections faster and firmer. Habit 2. Stay standing or lightly active for 1 to 2 minutes. Do not sit down. A brief period of walking or slow hip movement keeps the pelvic arteries open and prevents compression of the vessels that supply the penis. This extra minute allows the activation to fully take effect before circulation becomes restricted again. Habit 3. Use a low sugar, low inflammation breakfast. Choose clean proteins, healthy fats, and whole foods. Avoid sugary pastries, processed cereals, flavored coffees, juice, and other inflammatory foods. Sugar stiffens the arteries, irritates the endothelial lining, and blocks nitric oxide, undoing the entire practice. A clean breakfast protects your vessels and keeps them responsive. These 3 habits work together to create the ideal internal environment for erections: open arteries, relaxed smooth muscle, strong nitric oxide flow, and stable pelvic pressure. When combined with the daily practice, this protocol consistently reawakens the erectile pathway, producing stronger, faster, and more reliable erections even at 80. If you stayed with me until the end of this video, it means you are truly committed to understanding your body and restoring your erection in a safe and natural way. Before you leave, take a moment to check whether you are already subscribed to the channel. This ensures you do not miss the next videos, where I continue guiding you step by step. If you watched all the way through, comment the word Reignite so I know you are part of the group that follows every detail closely. And do not forget to like this video. Your support helps this medical information reach more men who need clear, science-based guidance to improve their sexual health. Now go ahead and watch the next video that is appearing on your screen. It continues exactly from where this one stops and gives you the next steps to strengthen your erection even further.